Krown Produce secures produce locally and from around the world for Canadian retailers. Krown Produce is also proud to secure sponsorship of university football on Shaw. Krown Produce, supporting Canadian retailers and Canadian amateur football. Playdowns, the OUA playoffs begin. Showdown of the two traditional Quebec powers and the lowdown on the Roundtable. Krown Countdown U starts counting down now.
Hey, welcome to Krown Countdown U. I'm Ryan Sullivan. That's Andrew Wadden. We're looking good because it's playoff time in the OUA.
Yeah, that's why I wore my bow tie today. Yourself too, I see.
I just got off work. Came right over here.
Yeah, valeting over at the hotel across the street again.
Yeah. Hey, somebody parked their Ford Fiesta and tipped me $5 today. I don't need this job. I'm making the real money.
Yeah, moving on up in this world. Speaking of moving on up in this world, one team will be moving on, Guelph, Windsor. The last time these two teams faced off, Guelph needed a last-second field goal to beat the Lancers. Will Windsor upset Guelph? Let's get to the highlights.
All right, playoff football time in Guelph. Pick this one up in the first cue. Rob Farquharson takes the handoff and busts up the gut. That puts the Griffins on the Lancers' doorstep. A couple of plays later, big 3-2 caps off the drive. Guelph take the early lead, and they build on it. Windsor pivot Austin Kennedy under pressure, gets picked by Curtis Newton. He takes it all the way to the house. That's a 58-yard pick six. Guelph extends its lead to 14. Second cue now, and Jazz Lindsay gets robbed himself. Quentin Elliott with the pick. He takes it to Moneyland. That's a 49-yard pick six. Lancers cut the Griffins' lead to one score. Guelph would add a field goal to make the deficit now 10. Dave McDuffie under center for the Lancers. Rolls out, connects on the sideline. That's a 27-yard pickup. And it leads to this 8-yard major from Mitch Dender. Windsor down just 3 going into the Mill Street break. Second half now, Lindsay and company pull away. Jazz fakes to the outside and then fires to a wide open Josh Ingram. That put the Griffins up by 10. Guelph end up taking it 31-21. Lindsay tossed for 247 yards, connecting on 18 of 29 passes with 1 touchdown and 1 INT. Farquharson was the horse for the Griffins, rushing 30 times for 133 yards and the 1 tally. Kennedy completed 20 of 37 pass attempts for 255 yards, 1 major, and 1 pick in the loss.
To Ron Joyce Stadium we go. McMaster hosting Ottawa. First cue, Marshall Ferguson feeling a little Dutch. He goes and finds Danny van der Voort. He clogs off a few defenders, and he's in. Mac up 14 blanks, second half to go. Mac now leading 27-7. Ferguson finds Ben O'Connor, 27-yard major. Ferguson crack that whip. The Marauders are moving on, and after a stellar bounce-back year, we say happy trails to the GGs. 41-7 is your final. Marshall Ferguson, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Wayne Moore ran the ball for 140 yards as well. Mac now gets set for round 2 with no doubt the biggest test of the year, the best team in the biz, the Western Mustangs.
All right, the semifinals are now set in the OUA. The Griffins will travel to Kingston to face Queens in a rematch of last year's OUA semifinal that saw Guelph come from behind to win in a OT thriller. The other semifinal is also a rematch from last year. However, this time Western holds the home field advantage. Mac will be in tough against Will Finch and the Purple Ponies. Should be a shoe-shine dandy.
You know who's upset? Blake Neal. Because his team is 7-0. They're not 8-0 yet, and they're perfection. They are the meaning of perfection. We'll find out if that statement's true right now. Calgary Dinos hosting the UBC Thunderbirds in both teams' regular season finale. Pick things up in the first Q. Andrew Buckley out of play action rolls out and finds Mac Sorrow with a nice leaping grab. Dinos scratch the scoreboard first. Brandon Deschamps, the power behind the UBC offense, gets an early wake-up call. Boom! Dr. Kasama. His name is Dr. Kasama. What if he gets a PhD? Greg Bocott finding David Scott for a 17-yard score. It's 11-8. T-Birds, they got the lead. However, the doctor decides to operate. No, not Doctor. We're talking Dr. Goal Line here. Mercer Timmis with a nice chunk of change there. He then polishes off the drive from the 4-yard line. 34-17, the final for Cowtown. Mercer Timmis with a huge game for the Dinos, 184 yards, and Dr. Goal Line crossed that goal line one time.
The second edition of the Wheat Belt up for grabs at Mosaic. There's a good shot of Huskies QB Drew Burko, and that's his favorite target right there, Mr. Vidal Sassoon, Mitch Stevens. The two facing off against that man, Cayman Shutter, and his best set of hands, the bad man, Colton Solomon. Early first Q, Sasky up a 2-spot. Shutter gets picked. Braxton Lawrence with the thievery. That pick led to this. Dexter Jenke corkscrews his way into the end zone. I call that one the Sean White. Snowboarding, of course. Dogs take a 9-0 lead. 2 minutes to go in the queue. Rams forced to punt. Mitch Hillis fields it. Whoops! The pigskin pops out. Rams recover. Turnover. Sasky. Shutter makes the Dogs pay for it. Airs it out to Rory Coppathorne. RC with a beauty grab. Regina scratches the scoreboard. But before the half, Sasky puts 7 more on the board. Burko to Mr. Vidal Sassoon. Mitch Stevens with his first major since week 2 versus Manitoba. The Green Dogs take a 9-point lead into the Great Western rubric. In second half, and the two teams decide to open up a bakery. Burko over the middle. That's a pick. Turnover. Very next series for Regina. Shutter. That's a fumble. Turnover. Next series for the Dogs. Burko over the middle once again. That's a pick. Turnover. Next series for Regina. I think you can guess what's coming up next. Shutter picked once again. The two teams combined for 14 turnovers in the game. Yes, you heard me correctly, 14. Why would I make that up? That pick led to this major from Jenke, his second of the day. Despite the game being out of reach, we had to show something good from the Rams. Shutter yanked for John Kiesman. The K-Man goes to the air. Richard, don't call me Dixon. Danny somehow makes the grab, but it was too little, too late. The Jim Mullin coined Wheat Belt will stay in Saskatoon. Huskies take it by 18. Not the most stellar performance by either pivot in this one. Burko tossing for less yards than Shutter, but had the advantage, tossing 2 touchdowns to Shutter's 1. The 5 INTs by Shutter is something I'm sure he'd like to forget. So just where will the Huskies finish in the Canada West standings? Well, let's head to Alberta and find out.
Manitoba visiting Alberta. First quarter, Anthony Coombs lines up in the slot, takes a little dump pass, turns it into a 38-yard take, lest we not forget that amazing block. Bisons go up, 14 blank. Alberta ball now, and Tyler Henry decides to change the history of the world. He takes this kick back 106 yards to the yellow-painted fake grass. The longest kick return for a touchdown in U of A history, cracking, shattering, and exploding the old record of 103 held by the great Ken Nielsen. That slices the lead in 2. It's 14-7. Bisons. Jordan Yance then out of play action finds Matt Sawyer wide open, though his mind does not prevent. Touchdown, Bisons, a huge 60-yard pass catch and run. Anthony Coombs then lights up Footfield with a gorgeous run. He breaks up the middle and see ya! This cracks, shatters, and explodes the Canada West rush for a touchdown record of 102 yards. Set back in 1979, he goes 107 yards all the way to pay dirt and all the way to the playoffs. Bisons win 60-18. In Week 1, these two teams combined for 1,751 yards. In Week 8, they combined for 1,279. Simple addition equals simple rediction. Over 3,000 yards of total offense in their 2 meetings this season. Patent pending on rediction, by the way. With the win, Manitoba secures second and home field advantage in the opening round of the postseason. By the way, Anthony Coombs, he had a pretty decent day. 175 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown. He also caught passes for 122 yards and another touchdown. And also, final note for you, Alberta has now lost 24 games in a row. Just saying. But they do have a sweet-looking logo. Let's take a look now at your Canada West standings. Calgary, you are perfect at 8-0. Manitoba takes second. Saskatchewan third. UBC fourth at 4-4. Regina misses the playoffs for the first time since 2005. And Alberta, well, lots to improve upon, I suppose. 0-8. That's how you finish the year. Let's look now at your Canada West playoff matchups. Semifinal number 1, Saskatchewan visits Manitoba. Semifinal number 2, you might as well keep the bus parked right where it is. UBC has another date with the Dinos in Cowtown.
All right, let's head out to Atlantic Canada, Antigonish to be exact. SMU looking to lock up the conference with a win. And also in this pack, you have to look for my Wu-Tang reference.
St. Mary's looking to lock up first place in the conference on the road in Antigonish. My son, it was some windy there too. Early first cue, the Salty Dogs think they got 6. Marvin Golding smokes Dante Jan. Prince, yes, Prince Buffo leaps on the biscuit. However, check the replay. The Zebras call a helmet-to-helmet penalty. No points. Second cue, Huskies forced to punt. Randy Roseway fields it from his own 40, thinks about going right, doubles back to his left, finds a seam, he gone. That put X deep into the Huskies zone. That set up this 36-yard field goal. Nope, wide left. Jeremy Ford can't split the uprights. Melvin take it to the bank. Well, he can't really take it to the bank. However, he does find an ATM at least, picking up some decent yardage there. Right before the half, Jack Creighton fires over the middle. Muhammad Abdallah hauls it in. A couple of jukes, and he's taken down at the X1 yard line. That set up this easy sweep for Michael Dawes. SMU take a 7-3 lead into the Alexander Keiths break. Late third Q, Huskies scratching at the X door. Creighton fires, blocked. Nate Furman with the thievery. That's his first career INT, but it would result in this. X do nothing with the turnover, conceding the safety. It's now 9-3 SMU. Fourth Q now, keep an eye on number 4 on the right of your screen. That's Abankwah. Hauls in the grab, jukes out of a tackle. Yeah, Abankwah goes Bruce Lee on the defender. Let's take a look at this one more time in slow motion. On guard, I'll let you try my Wu-Tang style. That's all she wrote from Antigonish. Huskies take it 12-6. Creighton connected on 50% of his passes on the day, tossing for 155 yards, no majors, and the 1 pick. Abdallah with a game-high 86 yards on 5 catches. Abankwah had 70 all-purpose yards, however, he did have the 1 kung fu kick. For X, Devin Bailey caught 5 passes for a team-high 68 yards. The X-Men missed the playoffs for a second straight year, while St. Mary's earns the bye to the Loney Bowl for the first time since 2010.
Mount Allison hosting Acadia, and they gave the hometown fans at Macaulay Field a delightful dandy. 23-14 the final score.
All right, let's take a glance at the final standings in the AUS. As mentioned earlier, SMU locks up first place in the conference, and they will get a bye to the Loney Bowl. Mount Allison sealed second place with its win over Acadia. The Mounties are riding high going into the playoffs, having won 3 straight. They are also the only team in the conference to have beaten every team. And by doing so, they have earned home field advantage in the AUS semifinal, where for a second straight week, they will have to face off against Acadia.
Laval, Montreal. Battle of the Titans when it means something in Week 8 and a team is going for a perfect record of 8-0. You know they wanted it. Did they, Ann? Let's find out.
Laval trying to end their season with perfection. Start things out with a nice bomb from Alex Skinner to Guillaume Rioux. First and goal, Rouge A, or it would result in a Boris Bidet 3-banger. There you go. First half winding down when Pierre-Luc Verger hooks up with Ali and Dawo. Montreal knocking on the door. Coaches then tell Verge, okay, fake running right, shake a tackle, go left, it'll work. Then watch this. Just like they drew it up, the QB coach dynamic is clicking in Montreal. They go into the half leading 9-3. Manuel Crissé-Lazon in the fourth Q goes for a huge run to the right, jukes a few guys. However, Montreal could not do anything with the ball and the field position, so they'd have to punt. First play after that punt, Alex Skinner airs it out for Felix Lachasseur. 71 yards later, point Laval. Boom! This thing is a ball game, and they don't care who knows it. Maxime Boutin then starts the next series with a huge run right up the can. There was supposed to be a run there, but there was. First down, Laval, and it leads to Pascal Lachard 1-yard scamper. It is 16-11 for the REO. Guillaume Bourassa then takes it in once, and then a minute 40 later, he takes it in twice. Good night and au revoir from Montreal. Laval wins with ease, 30-11. Not a lot of guys with impressive numbers in this one. Alex Skinner, though, proving himself over and over again for the Red Guys. Almost 200 yards through the air with a touchdown in the win.
Unfortunately, we have no moving images to show you of Bishop's pivot Jordan Heather breaking Will Finch's CIS single-season passing yards record, a record that the young Western star held for 1 week. Heather threw for 484 yards, connecting on 26 of 47 attempts with 4 touchdowns. That gives the fifth-year senior 3,132 yards on the year. Alex Fox set a Bishop single-game record with 256 yards on 7 catches while scoring 4 majors. The loss bounced McGill from the playoffs. Better luck next year.
It was almost a year to forget for Sherbrooke, but they are in. They locked up a playoff spot with a 28-21 win over the Concordia Stingers. They will now face the best team in the RSEQ for week 1 of the postseason. All right, let's take a look now at your RSEQ standings. Laval, perfection, 8-0. Bishops finishes second with a 6-2 season. That's their first 6-win season since 1993. Montreal takes third spot at 5-3, and Sherbrooke makes the playoffs, 3-5. McGill, Concordia, take it easy. See you next season. Here's a look now at your RSEQ semifinal matchups. Laval will host Sherbrooke, a rematch of last year's Dunsmore Cup, where the Rouge et Or came out on top 40-17. And for the first time since 1994, playoff football returns to Lennoxville. Bishops hosts the Montreal Carabins.
Some beauties out of the RSEQ. Jordan Heather setting the record.
You know what? Jordan Heather sets this passing record that was really only a week old anyway. You and I, each week, we're setting records by just doing this show, no?
Is looking good, is that a stat category?
Oh yeah, that's definitely up there.
I think so.
We held that record like for how many consecutive weeks now?
This isn't an accident,
Maybe
you know?
one.
This is the real deal, what we do at this station.
2 weeks. I think we just lost the record.
Yeah, I'm gonna go park a Jetta.
Whether it's your first home, a refinance, or an investment property, Kia Grant & Associates can find a mortgage solution for you. In association with Verico Paragon, the work she does for you is free. Find her on Facebook at Kia Grant Mortgages. Now it's time for the 3-minute warning presented by Kia Grant & Associates. This week featuring Cayman Shutter, quarterback for the Regina Rams. Cayman, I can feel the winter cold approaching here. Are you getting ready for it?
Yeah, I've been getting ready. I definitely had the cold gear ordered and have the full complement of equipment that I need. So, you know, as much as I can get prepared for it with equipment, I'm also doing the mental side, which is getting used to having some cold hands and having to deal with the breath issue, so being a little bit short of breath. So there's a couple things that go into it, but yeah, I am getting ready.
Yeah, for folks that don't know, you're not born and raised in Hawaii. You're partially raised in Hawaii, but you're from Regina. Tell people about your background.
Yeah, I was born in Regina. I lived here until I was 10 years old. My entire family's here as far as grandparents, cousins. So yeah, I'm very much rooted in Regina and in Canada, and yeah, moving to Hawaii was a huge change for me, and I did adjust well, thanks in large part to football and to sports. So There's a lot of big similarities that a lot of people point out, but football makes the transition smooth.
Tell us about your days playing high school football. You led your high school team to a state championship and later played with the University of Hawaii. I've got to think that the high school championship was tremendous for you and your school and your community.
It was. Our athletic tradition at Punahou, the high school I went to, is it's hard to speak for. There's tons of just great tradition there, and we hadn't had a HHSAA state championship. That was the only sport, and my senior year we were able to get our first, and it was a huge point of pride for our school, a school that was the #1 athletic program in the nation, chosen by Sports Illustrated my junior and senior year. So it was huge. That year we had over 50% of the state titles won, and football was probably, well, to me it was the biggest. So
what's it like working in an offense where you get to throw the football upwards of 50, 55 times a game? I'm not sure if you expected that coming out here. And what's it like to work with a guy like Mark Mueller, who's also got a very deep culture in this game?
Yeah, well, first off, I just want to say how great it is to work with Mark Mueller. He has football in his DNA, and just being around him makes me a better football player. It just kind of emits from him. So I try and spend as much time with him as I can, whether it be off the field, on the field, in the film room. It just is unreal being a first-year quarterback in a Canadian game, to have a guy like Mueller right there with me. He makes me feel so much more comfortable with the game. And other than that, yeah, we are passing the ball a lot this year. I would like to say that I did expect it, because that's part of the reason why this was the perfect fit for me. I committed to a school at the University of Hawaii that had the run and shoot offense, and that's a system that's going to pass the ball 50 to 60 times a game as well. So it's a quarterback's dream. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to do that if you're a quarterback. I think we'd like to have a little bit more balance than we did last game specifically, but for the most part, our offense is going to live with the pass.
Thanks very much for this, and we'll let you get warm.
Thanks. That's a big part of playing quarterback, is being warm. Thanks.
All right, welcome back. Time again for the Roundtable. We welcome back Jim Mullin, the man dressed in black. We've got Billy Greene, former UBC quarterback and Creighton winner, and of course from Sportsnet U's CIS coverage, we have Justin Dunk on the line from Guelph. Justin, how are you?
Always doing pretty well. Pleasure to join the Roundtable.
It's a pleasure to have you here. We're going to start things out with opening kickoff, some headlines from around the CIS, and we'll start things out with Billy Greene.
On Saturday, rookie receiver from University of Alberta, Tyler Henry, set the record for longest kick return in University of Alberta history with a 106-yard return. This kid is a player. Jim's mentioned him before. He's going to be something that they can build around there in Edmonton. I think he's really going to help this team going forward for their rebuilding.
Yeah, and I think the key thing for Tyler Henry is that he is from Edmonton, which gives them something to build around when they go to recruits from Alberta. My story is Jerry McGrath stepping down as coach of the Concordia Stingers. It was announced right after Concordia's last game. I think he's been beaten up a lot by folks in Quebec in terms of what his record's been as of late, but he was 51-34 from 2000 through 2008. They were a very competitive team. 4 of his players were Defensive Players of the Year. Corey Greenwood played with the Kansas City Chiefs for a few years and is looking for another NFL opportunity. And McGrath, like so many other CIS coaches, put up with a lot during that time. He worked in a leaky portable for a number of years and really had to be chief cook and bottle washer. So Jerry McGrath deserves a tip of the hat.
Out to you, Justin.
Well, my story of the weekend comes from the game that we covered, the McMaster game. Wayne Moore, 22 carries for 140 yards, really got that rushing game going for the Marauders. Now, we saw back in 2011, Chris Pizzetta got hot in that Vanier Cup run for McMaster. If Wayne Moore can have a similar impact on the offense, I think this McMaster team coming together, getting healthy at the right time of year, and with Wayne Moore turning out yards in the backfield just like Pizzetta in 2011, they could be a sneaky team to make another Vanier run.
All right, time now for objectionable conduct, things you have a problem with. We're going to throw things out to Justin. What do you got, bud?
Well, my objectionable conduct, and this comes from maybe me being a little bit our former quarterback, is the intentional grounding penalty across the CIS. In the pros, you'll see in the NFL and the CFL, when they roll out of the pocket, they're allowed to throw the ball away. They can throw it in the first row of the stands, and there's no penalty for intentional grounding. But in the CIS, for some reason, we have this penalty. When you're out of the pocket, you have to find a guy and get the ball close to him. Now, we've seen this affect a number of ball games, and I don't understand why this rule still exists, especially when in the pros, as long as you're outside the pocket, you can throw the ball away. I think it's time to do away with that rule and say, if you're outside the pocket, you can throw it wherever the heck in the park you want.
I like it. Billy Greene.
I think that's a rule that would really help out the quarterbacks in the Battle of Saskatchewan the other day. Drew Burko and Cayman Shutter, you did not play well the other day. 14 turnovers. It was a very sloppy football game. Fortunately enough for Saskatchewan, they get to go play one more game against Manitoba. Saskatchewan's got to figure it out. They can't turn over the ball as many times as they did. If their defense forces as many fumbles and interceptions as they did against Regina, they're going to have a shot, but that offense needs to get rolling.
The only thing more painful than watching that game was calling it for 3 hours. It was truly awful with those 14 turnovers. My objectionable conduct comes to me from a coach, and we'll just say it's a Canada West coach, and he's got a son in his 20s. And he told me that they have a drinking game based on what we say on Countdown U and what I say on Shaw Canada West TV broadcast. Apparently, and I don't condone this, but if I say Coombs, UBC, or Krown, it is worth a drink. And I really do apologize, and really mind your manners when it comes to something of that variety.
Is it just you, or is it of all of us?
It's just me, unfortunately.
Ah.
And I have to take responsibility for it.
I could be passing around drinks all night here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's too bad. All right.
Shot.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're going to go to Games of the Week, and we're going to go right back to Jim Mullin.
I'm going to pick UBC Calgary. And the reason that I'm picking UBC Calgary is that I think UBC actually has an opportunity in this game to pull off what some people think is the impossible. UBC coming into this game at 4-4, Calgary undefeated on the field for the first time at 8-0. UBC's defense actually lines up quite well against Calgary. They will be missing Martin Park on the defensive line, which allows Calgary to do some things like double-team Donovan Dale, who's been outstanding this year. But I like UBC's chances in this game as long as they don't let Calgary go over the top early and UBC settles in and establishes their running game. This could be a very interesting game to watch.
Billy Greene.
I'm going to take this one away from Justin. I'm going Guelph at Queens, rematch of last year's Yates Cup semifinal. It's going to be played on the grass in Queens, which is going to give them a huge home field advantage. Last year, Guelph came back from 21 points to win in overtime. I think it's going to be a very exciting game, and we're going to get a lot of entertainment from it.
There you go. Justin, take us home.
Well, this is the shocker, boys. I'm going outside the OUA, my game of the week. Bishops, Montreal. Obviously, Jordan Heather has been a huge story, the fifth-year quarterback. Set the CIS single-season passing record last week. He hit up Laval for over 500 yards during the regular season. I'm curious to see what Bishops can do on their home field. Jordan Heather should feel very comfortable there against this tough Montreal defense. I think Bishops squeaks one out because Heather has a huge day, but we'll see.
All right, joining us live from Guelph. Thank you very much, Justin.
No problem, guys. Always a pleasure to talk some CIS football.
Thanks for coming on. And we have, of course, on behalf of Jim Mullin, on behalf of Billy Greene, I'm Ryan Sullivan. Here is your final CIS Top 10.
10, Saskatchewan. Find the offense or find the offseason. 9, Manitoba. Home is where the advantage is. 8, Mac. Are they under the OUA radar? 7, Montreal. Is good defense good enough? 6, Bishops. Heck candidate Heather, record breaker. 5, Guelph. Time to prove it on the road. 4, Queens. Life is better on grass at Richardson. 3, Calgary. 8-0 came way too easy. 2, Laval. They've been here before. And number 1, Western, sitting and waiting. Thanks for tuning in to Krown at Countdown U as Countdown has Countdown.